What if everything you have been taught about God, creation, and reality is incomplete, perhaps even deliberately distorted? What if behind the visible universe, beyond the religions of the world, beyond the gods humans worship, there exists a hidden reality that few were ever meant to discover? The ancient Gnostics claimed to uncover a truth so dangerous, so disruptive, that it threatened the power structures of their time. They spoke of a hidden God, a true source, that exists beyond the creator of this universe. They called it the monad, the one that exists before light, before time, before thought. Not a being, but being itself, the root of consciousness, the origin of truth, the silent observer behind existence. This knowledge was forbidden. It was burned, suppressed, lost to centuries of fear and manipulation. But it survived, in secret texts, in mystery schools, and in fragments of ancient wisdom scattered across civilizations. And when one understands what the monad truly is, reality begins to unravel like smoke in the wind. If you have ever felt that this world is a shadow of something higher, if you have sensed that human life is part of a deeper metaphysical story, then you are already standing close to the threshold of Gnostic truth. Because the ancient initiates believed, you do not have a soul, you are a fragment of the monad, dreaming inside matter. Today, I want to take you beyond the borders of ordinary spirituality, beyond dogma, beyond fear, and into the forbidden heart of creation. To truly comprehend the monad, one must first understand the nature of the world it birthed, or rather, the world that exists as a reflection of what it is not. Gnostic thought teaches that the universe you perceive with your senses is not the ultimate reality, but a carefully constructed illusion, a stage upon which consciousness plays, often unaware of its own origins. Unlike mainstream religion, which presents the cosmos as a harmonious creation of a benevolent deity, Gnosticism offers a radically different vision. The material world is inherently flawed, limited, and often violent in its structure. It is a reflection of ignorance, a manifestation of a mind that mistakes itself for the totality of existence. This flawed creation, the Gnostics explain, emerges from a being known as the demiurge, a cosmic architect who believes itself to be the only God, yet is blind to the higher reality beyond its own design. This entity is not malicious in a conventional sense. It is simply ignorant, unaware of the monad and the fullness of being from which it emerged. The demiurge fashioned matter as a prison for consciousness, creating layers of existence that obscure the truth, layers that trap the human spirit in cycles of illusion, attachment, and suffering. Time, space, and physical laws are not neutral. They are constraints designed by the demiurge's limited understanding. Life, in this sense, becomes a labyrinth, a series of obstacles meant to test the spark of awareness hidden within every human being. Those sparks, fragments of the monad itself, are the true divinity that the demiurge cannot control. They carry within them a memory of the source, a dim recognition of the truth that exists beyond matter, beyond form, beyond the illusion of the world. The Gnostics often describe the world as a shadow theater, in which souls are actors, playing roles they have forgotten were chosen. The apparent chaos, suffering, and inequality of life are not accidents, but the natural consequences of living in a world designed without full awareness. To awaken to the monad is to see these layers for what they are, not punishment, not injustice, not fate, but the consequence of separation from the true source of being. Humans are born into a reality that teaches them they are separate, fragile, and dependent, when in fact each consciousness is a fragment of the one, temporarily veiled by matter and illusion. Understanding this begins to change perception. Suffering is no longer merely a cruel twist of fate. It becomes a signal, a marker, pointing toward the necessity of awakening, the need to remember oneself as a being of divine origin. In this framework, the material universe is not simply flawed, it is a mirror of consciousness itself, a projection of the demiurge's incomplete understanding of existence. Every law of nature, every limitation, every apparent cruelty is a reflection of ignorance rather than malevolence. Yet within this flawed reflection, the spark of the monad persists, untouched, hidden in the depths of awareness, waiting for the moment it can recognize itself. This is why Gnostic texts emphasize self-knowledge, inner reflection, and direct experience over dogma or obedience. Only through turning inward can one begin to perceive the reality beyond the illusion, the unbroken unity beyond the fractured world. To walk this path is to gradually lift the veil of ignorance. The journey is not merely philosophical, it is existential. One begins to recognize the patterns that bind human perception, the habits that chain thought, the false identities that define existence. As the Gnostics taught, liberation comes not by changing the world around you, but by remembering the divine spark within, by perceiving the unity that underlies multiplicity, and by seeing the demiurge and its constructs for what they are, a necessary but temporary stage in the grand unfolding of being. The world of form, time, and causality is compelling precisely because it hides its nature so well. It seduces the senses, enthralls the mind, and distracts consciousness from remembering its origin. The Gnostics describe this entrapment as a kind of cosmic amnesia, where fragments of the divine are scattered into a dreamlike reality that feels concrete and absolute. Yet every human being carries the potential to awaken from this dream, to pierce the illusion, to see the flawed universe as a stepping stone toward the monad. The Gnostic path is therefore not a rejection of the world, but a radical understanding of it. A recognition that the shadows, the limits, the constraints, and even suffering itself are all signs, invitations, and guides pointing toward the hidden source. Ultimately, the thematic flow from the Gnostic perspective is a journey from illusion to awareness, from fragmentation to unity, from the flawed architecture of the demiurge to the infinite intelligence of the monad. By seeing the world through this lens, one begins to perceive the subtle signals of the hidden God, the fingerprints of the source that permeate even the imperfect material reality. Every restriction, every seeming failure, every act of suffering becomes a mirror for consciousness, reflecting the need to awaken, to remember, and to reclaim the divine spark within. This is why Gnosticism has survived through centuries of suppression and distortion. It addresses a universal truth that resonates deep within the psyche, a truth that humans intuitively recognize even when they cannot name it. A truth that calls every seeker to remember that the flawed world is not the end of reality, but a passage toward the eternal source. If the universe we perceive is flawed, if its creator is not the highest God, then a question emerges that shakes the foundations of thought. If the demiurge is not the ultimate source, then who or what is truly behind everything that exists? This is not a question of theology nor of belief. It is a question of awareness, of gnosis, of seeing reality as it is, rather than how it appears. The monad exists beyond time, beyond causality, beyond thought itself. It is the silent origin, the unmanifest intelligence from which all layers of creation emanate. And yet, paradoxically, it is present in every fragment of consciousness, hidden in plain sight, invisible yet inseparable from the very fabric of being. Consider the implications. If the demiurge is an imperfect architect, crafting a flawed universe with rules and boundaries that obscure awareness, then you, your thoughts, your feelings, your very sense of self, are simultaneously trapped and divine. You are a fragment of the monad experiencing limitation, living as a temporary shadow within a world of shadow. Every emotion of fear, every sensation of loss or confusion, every moment of uncertainty, these are not random. They are the signals of a consciousness that remembers its origin, tugging at the edges of your perception, calling you to recognize the truth behind the illusion. And here is where the paradox deepens. You are the monad experiencing itself through separation. The being that created all things is not distant, not separate, not inaccessible. You are the evidence of its existence. Yet the demiurge, in constructing matter and time, created a system so convincing that this truth is nearly impossible to see without deliberate awareness. In other words, the universe is a puzzle that simultaneously hides and reveals the source of reality. It is a cosmic enigma designed to awaken the divine spark within you. The Gnostics suggested that this hidden source is not a passive observer. It does not intervene in the world of the demiurge with force or judgment. Instead, it waits within the consciousness of those who remember, subtly guiding, signaling, and opening glimpses of awareness. The paradox is that the highest God, the monad, is not imposing itself on creation. It does not need to. Its presence is inherent, eternal, and unavoidable for those willing to see beyond the illusions of matter, identity, and thought. Now consider your own life. Every event, every obstacle, every twist of fate, could be interpreted as meaningless or cruel. Yet from the Gnostic perspective, these experiences are far from random. They are the demiurge's framework intersecting with the spark of the monad within you, creating friction, tension, and a paradox that challenges perception. The harder the world pushes you into illusion, the stronger the call of awakening becomes. The greater the apparent separation, the deeper the opportunity to remember. This is why Gnosticism emphasizes direct experience over inherited belief. The truth of the monad cannot be taught through doctrine, but only realized within the turbulence of life itself. Here is the tension that grips the mind. If the highest God is unknowable, if the universe is designed to obscure and challenge awareness, then how can one ever awaken? And yet, if you are truly a fragment of this hidden source, awakening is inevitable. It is simply a matter of recognition. The paradox itself becomes the teacher. The more you resist the illusion, the more clearly the monad reveals itself through the very structure of reality. This is the point where curiosity transforms into existential urgency. The universe, in all its apparent randomness, becomes a reflection of your inner state. Every experience, every encounter, every choice is a mirror pointing to the hidden God within you. And the more you see the world as the creation of the demiurge rather than the monad, the more your perception shifts. You begin to notice patterns, synchronicities, and signs that others overlook. You begin to sense the intelligence beneath apparent chaos, the subtle whisper of the monad guiding those fragments of consciousness that are ready to awaken. And here lies the ultimate paradox. The hidden God that you seek is not somewhere out there waiting to be found. It is within you, already present, already complete, already eternal. Yet because of the layers of illusion, the influence of the demiurge, and the distractions of form, you are compelled to search, to question, to struggle. The universe both conceals and reveals, tests and awakens, confines and frees, all at once. The very act of questioning, of feeling the tension between what is and what must be, becomes the doorway into gnosis. At this stage, the mind begins to feel both vertigo and liberation. Vertigo, because everything previously assumed as reality begins to dissolve. Liberation, because the same dissolution unveils the hidden truth, that the monad is not separate, not distant, not foreign. It is the origin and destination of all consciousness, patiently waiting for you to recognize that your own mind, your own awareness, is the reflection of the eternal source. The universe is not merely a world to be navigated. It is a puzzle, a mirror, and a teacher designed to awaken you to what you always were. A fragment of the infinite, dreaming inside limitation, destined to remember itself. What is the monad? To approach this question, one must let go of ordinary concepts of God, of creation, of time, and of individuality. The monad is not a deity in any human sense. It is not a being with intentions, desires, or limitations. It does not occupy space. It does not think in thoughts or act in ways that can be comprehended by ordinary consciousness. It is not a thing at all. The monad is the absolute source, the origin of all that is and all that could ever be, the foundation from which existence itself emerges. It is being prior to being, awareness prior to awareness, the seed of all potentialities that ever unfold. In essence, the monad is the infinite cause of all causes, existing before light, before time, before multiplicity, before even the concept of self. To understand the monad is to confront a truth that the human mind finds almost impossible to hold. Reality as we know it is not primary. The world of matter, of time, of form, of objects is a derivative, a shadow, a reflection, an emanation from the source. The Gnostics describe this emanation as a cascading series of layers called aeons through which the pure, undivided light of the monad unfolds into multiplicity. Each layer represents a gradual separation from unity, a condensation of consciousness into more structured forms, until finally the material universe arises, the creation of the demiurge, a being who believes itself to be the highest God, but who exists as a limited expression within a universe of limitation. Yet even within this imperfect creation, the monad is present. It is not constrained by the demiurge's limitations. Every human soul, every fragment of awareness, carries a spark of the monad, a hidden, unbroken remnant of the infinite source. This spark is what the Gnostics called the divine seed, the essence that connects you to eternity, the portion of reality that has never been corrupted by the flawed architect of the material world. It is the unchanging witness, the eternal consciousness that cannot be touched by suffering, decay, or time. The implications of this truth are staggering. If you are a fragment of the monad, then every thought, every experience, every life you live is simultaneously a participation in divinity and a struggle within illusion. The universe, with all its apparent chaos, is a mirror for your inner state. It is not random, it is not meaningless. It is a system designed to bring fragments of the monad to recognition of themselves. Every restriction, every challenge, every moment of confusion or fear is a signal. It is consciousness tugging at the veil, whispering the truth that you are more than your body, more than your mind, more than the circumstances you occupy. You are the source itself, experiencing itself through the temporary lens of separation. To awaken to the monad is to awaken to absolute reality. It is to see beyond cause and effect, beyond duality, beyond the illusions of space and time. It is to recognize that the essence of the world is not what it seems, that form is transient, and that the one constant behind all experience is pure consciousness. The monad does not need to intervene, because it is already present in every fragment of awareness. Its guidance is subtle, not external, operating through synchronicity, intuition, and the quiet nudges of awareness that pierce the veil of ordinary perception. This insight fundamentally transforms the way existence is experienced. To know the monad is not a philosophical exercise. It is a direct realization, a shift in perception so profound that everything previously assumed as reality begins to rearrange itself. The limitations imposed by the demiurge, the apparent separateness of self from universe, the suffering, the fear, the sense of being small and insignificant, all of these are recognized as temporary conditions within a vast, intelligent, and infinite system of consciousness. Here is the ultimate paradox. The monad is both everything and nothing, simultaneously immanent and transcendent. It is the observer and the observed, the source and the reflection, the infinite light hidden within the smallest spark of awareness. You do not need to find it somewhere external, because it has never left you. It is the ground of your being, the silent witness behind thought, the eternal presence within the temporary mask of your human life. To awaken is to remember that you are not a separate entity navigating the universe. You are the monad itself, momentarily experiencing limitation for the purpose of knowing itself through multiplicity. And once this is grasped, even partially, existence transforms. The world is no longer a prison but a temple of awakening. Every shadow, every challenge, every fragment of life becomes a tool, a teacher, a mirror revealing the spark of divinity hidden within. The monad is not a distant god to be worshipped or appeased. It is the source of your awareness, the core of reality, and the eternal truth that persists beyond every illusion the demiurge has constructed. Recognizing this is not optional. It is the very purpose of consciousness itself, to awaken, to remember, and to see through the veil of the world into the infinite presence that has always been and always will be the ultimate origin of all that exists. Perhaps now, as these truths begin to settle in, you are feeling something stirring inside, a sensation that is difficult to describe but impossible to ignore. A quiet tension, a strange mixture of awe and unease, a subtle recognition that life as you have known it is only a fragment of a much greater reality. This is not imagination. It is the spark of the monad awakening within you, brushing against the surface of your awareness, nudging you toward recognition. It manifests as restlessness, as longing, as a sense that the world you navigate every day, its routines, rules, and relationships, is only a shadow of what is real. You feel as if there is a depth to life that remains just beyond your grasp, and you are right. Every human being has moments like this, though few recognize them. A sudden emptiness when a goal is achieved, a fleeting sadness when life seems meaningless, a sense of disconnection from those around you. These are not flaws, weaknesses, or mistakes. They are signposts from your own consciousness, the whisper of the hidden God calling you to awaken. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are a fragment of the monad itself, temporarily veiled by the structures of the material world. The confusion, the dissatisfaction, even the pain you experience are the universe's way of pointing you inward, toward your own eternal origin. Consider the times when you have felt deeply moved without explanation, watching the sunrise, hearing a melody that moves you to tears, feeling awe in the face of nature's complexity. In these moments, the veil thins and the spark of the monad within you shines brighter. You are connecting, even if fleetingly, with the infinite source of all existence. It is recognition, not imagination. It is remembrance, not fantasy. And it is a reminder that the deepest part of you is not confined by the limitations of time, form, or circumstance. Perhaps you have sensed it in your relationships too. The inexplicable bond with another, the intuition that guides your choices, the feeling that certain people, events, or experiences are not accidental. These are glimpses of your consciousness resonating with the hidden intelligence of the monad. They are signals that life is not random, that beneath every interaction lies a subtle architecture of awareness, a design that reflects the infinite source. Your intuition, your insight, your sense of timing, and even your unexplainable moments of clarity are all expressions of the divine spark struggling to remember itself within the illusion of the demiurge's world. It is natural to feel fear when faced with these realizations. The idea that the universe is not as it seems, that your life is part of a hidden pattern, that your true identity is far greater than your daily existence. This can be overwhelming. You may feel small, insignificant, or unprepared. But paradoxically, this fear is also a guide. It marks the edge of your awareness, the threshold where your old understanding must dissolve to make space for something greater. Every moment of fear, doubt, or uncertainty is an invitation to lean inward, to witness yourself as more than your thoughts, your body, or your circumstances. It is a call to remember that the eternal spark of the monad within you has always been intact, waiting only for recognition. The journey toward this recognition does not require extraordinary circumstances, dramatic rituals, or mystical experiences forced through effort. It begins quietly, subtly, in the small, intimate spaces of your life. When you sit in stillness and observe your own mind, when you notice the patterns of your thoughts and feelings without judgment, when you acknowledge the presence of something beyond your personal story, you begin to reconnect with the divine spark that is the monad. This is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering what you already are. It is about seeing through the illusion of separation to recognize your own essence as eternal, infinite, and unbroken. And so, every glance, every breath, every fleeting emotion becomes sacred. You begin to see that your life is not a random collection of events, but a living dialogue with consciousness itself, a conversation with the hidden God within. The challenges you face, the losses you endure, the uncertainty you feel, all are opportunities to awaken. They are reflections of the greater truth, that you are never alone, never limited, never disconnected from the infinite source of being. You are the monad experiencing itself through the temporary lens of human life, and every moment of awareness, no matter how small, is a step back toward remembering. In this way, personal connection is not merely emotional, it is mystical. It is the point where cosmic truth touches the human heart. It is where the abstract philosophy of Gnosticism becomes real, tangible, and undeniable. The spark of the monad within you is alive, persistent, and infinitely patient. It does not demand, it does not judge, it simply waits for you to notice, for you to turn inward, and to recognize the eternal reality of who you are. And the moment you do, even in the smallest way, the universe shifts. You feel it. A subtle alignment occurs. The world, once heavy and confining, becomes a reflection of your own awakening, echoing the truth that you were never separate, never lost, never small. The awakening to the monad is not an event. It is not a moment that arrives suddenly, though glimpses of it may flash across your awareness. Awakening is a process, an inner shift of attention, perception, and intention, a quiet revolution that begins in the depths of consciousness rather than in the world of appearances. It is the recognition that your life is not merely shaped by external forces, circumstances, or even fate, but by the consciousness within you, the divine spark that has never been broken, the fragment of the monad that persists despite the illusions of matter and time. To awaken is to begin the journey inward, It requires courage because it challenges everything you have been taught to trust. It asks you to question the authority of the world, to look beyond the immediate, the tangible, the socially imposed definitions of who you are. It invites you to step out of the role assigned by the Demiurge's universe, the role of a being defined by limitation, fear, and external validation, and to remember the truth of your own infinite nature. The first step is awareness. Begin to observe your own consciousness, not with judgment, not with expectation, but with attention. Notice the patterns of thought, the movements of emotion, the subtle urges that guide behavior. Within this observation, a space opens, a place untouched by the noise of the material world, a place where the spark of the monad can shine clearly. It is here in this space that the hidden God waits. It does not demand action or belief, it simply invites recognition. The second step is detachment, not in the sense of cold indifference, but as freedom from illusion. Detach from identities, roles, and attachments that define your life only in terms of the material world. Recognize that everything external, possessions, opinions, achievements, even relationships, is temporary. None of it can contain or define the eternal spark within you. This detachment is not denial of life. It is liberation within life. It is the ability to move through the world with awareness, to experience beauty and suffering alike, without losing sight of your true essence. The third step is recognition, seeing the divine spark within yourself as already complete, already whole, already the monad experiencing itself through a temporary form. This recognition may come gradually or suddenly, but the more you practice returning attention to this inner source, the stronger it becomes. Every moment spent in reflection, in stillness, in sincere inquiry, deepens the connection to the eternal presence within. The fourth step is embodiment. The monad is not something distant or abstract. It is here, now, in the moment, in the breath, in the awareness of being. Embody this awareness in daily life. Allow it to influence how you perceive the world, how you interact with others, how you respond to challenges. Your thoughts, actions, and intentions become vessels of the hidden God. You begin to move through life not as a passive participant in a flawed universe, but as a conscious fragment of the eternal, shaping your experience through alignment with the source within. The fifth step is courage. The awakening path is not easy. The demiurge resists, the world distracts, and the human mind often fears the loss of old identities. Yet every difficulty is a teacher, every obstacle a mirror reflecting the potential of the spark within. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to look beyond fear, to navigate uncertainty with trust in your own divine essence. It is the courage to remember that you are not a small, separate being, but a fragment of the infinite, capable of seeing beyond illusion and acting from a place of eternal truth. The sixth step is surrender. Not surrender to the world, but surrender to consciousness itself. To awaken is to recognize that you do not create reality alone, nor are you at the mercy of the demiurge. You exist within a network of awareness, a living field of intelligence in which the spark of the monad is embedded. Surrender is the act of letting go of resistance, of trusting the unseen currents of consciousness, of aligning your inner attention with the infinite source. Finally, the awakening is a continuous practice, not a final destination. Each day offers new opportunities to see through illusion, to recognize the hidden God within, and to live as a conscious fragment of the monad. Through awareness, detachment, recognition, embodiment, courage, and surrender, you begin to remember your true nature. You move through life not as a passive observer, but as an awakened presence, capable of perceiving the divine intelligence that underlies every aspect of reality. This is not mystical rhetoric. It is a call to action for consciousness itself. It is a reminder that the universe is not separate from you, that the spark of the hidden God exists in every thought, every breath, every moment of genuine awareness. And when you answer this call, when you commit to the inner journey, the world begins to shift. Synchronicities arise, patterns reveal themselves, the veil thins. You begin to feel the subtle flow of the monad's presence, guiding, responding, and reminding you that you are never apart from the eternal source, never lost, never incomplete, and always capable of remembering who you truly are. And now, as we reach the threshold of understanding, you may feel the weight of realization settling in. The truths you have encountered are not abstract concepts. They are not theories or ideas to be analyzed and forgotten. They are the pulse of reality itself, the echo of the hidden God reverberating through the fragments of your own awareness. The monad, the source beyond form, beyond time, beyond even thought, has never been distant. It has always been here, in the quiet depths of consciousness, patiently waiting for you to notice. The world of illusion, the flawed creation of the demiurge, the constraints of matter and identity, all of these are temporary shadows, temporary masks concealing the eternal truth of who you are. As you reflect on this, consider that your own life is a tapestry woven from both illusion and divinity. Every fear you have felt, every confusion, every moment of longing or loss has been an invitation to remember. The universe, in all its complexity and apparent chaos, is not separate from you. Every experience, every encounter, every fleeting moment of beauty or suffering carries the imprint of the monad, the eternal source. And through this recognition, you come to see, you are not a mere participant in a world of chance. You are the eternal observing itself through a temporary lens. You are the spark of the hidden God, momentarily veiled, momentarily fragmented, but never extinguished, never lost, never small. The journey of awakening is not a path that can be taught, enforced, or imposed. It is an inward turning, a recognition that the divine spark within you is not a fragment to be discovered, but a reality to be remembered. In the quiet spaces of reflection, in the attention given to your own consciousness, in the courage to see beyond fear and illusion, the veil begins to lift. The shadow of the demiurge fades, and the infinite intelligence of the monad is revealed, not as something distant or alien, but as the very core of your being. And yet, this revelation is not the end. It is a beginning that exists beyond the bounds of time and space. To awaken is to step into a state of ongoing remembrance, to live within the subtle harmony of the hidden God, to allow the spark within to guide perception, thought, and action. Every breath, every glance, every heartbeat becomes a reflection of eternal consciousness. Every challenge becomes a teacher, every moment of doubt a mirror, every fleeting glimpse of beauty a reminder that the source of all things has always been within you. You are not separate. You are not limited. You are not small. You are the monad experiencing itself through the intricate, temporary forms of matter, time, and consciousness. You are the eternal witnessing itself from the perspective of the finite, the infinite revealing itself through the finite lens of human life. And when you recognize this fully, even partially, the world itself transforms. What once seemed heavy, random, and constraining becomes a living dialogue with consciousness, a reflection of the hidden God that has always been guiding, observing, and responding. So let this understanding settle deeply within. Let it resonate in the quiet chambers of your mind and the stillness of your heart. You were never lost. You were never separate. You were always a fragment of the eternal, a spark of the hidden God, momentarily veiled, now beginning to remember. And as you carry this awareness forward, life is no longer merely endured. It is known. The illusions of the world lose their grip, fear dissolves, limitation fades. You move through existence not as a passive observer, but as the eternal source expressing itself, ever present, ever alive, and eternally aware. The monad is not somewhere to find, it is here, within you, beneath the layers of identity, beyond the illusion of separation. It has always been. It will always be. And now, in this moment of recognition, you glimpse the truth. You are not seeking God. You are God, remembering itself, through the lens of life, through the veil of creation, through the infinite dance of consciousness itself. And so the journey comes full circle. The mystery that seemed distant is revealed as intimate. The hidden God that seemed unknowable is recognized within. The illusion of the world is seen for what it is, and the eternal truth of the monad shines in the quiet depths of your own awareness. You are home, not somewhere outside, but at the very core of being itself. The spark is awake. The journey continues, but now it is guided by recognition, by remembrance, by the unbroken presence of the eternal, hidden God within you.